So thank you everyone so much for coming on the call tonight. I really, really appreciate the fact that everyone's taken the time. It is the 1st of August and as usual, we have that opportunity to really bunker down and set some plans in place for our business for August. So really utilise this opportunity today to really get your plan for August in place. And hopefully some of the things that I share on the call tonight will help you really, really move forward fast and furious in August and into this second half of the year. So tonight we're going to talk a little bit about how to start your franchisee the right way. And I just want to preface that by saying there is no absolutely perfect right way to start a franchisee. As we know, you can't really say the wrong thing to the right person, and you can't often say the right thing to the wrong person. But certainly if you follow a checklist of sorts of things that you need to do with your franchisee, particularly in that first 40 days of them being in business, then I can assure you that, you know, if they move forward, it will be because of the plan that you put in place. So I want to start by ensuring that everybody knows about our Hunters and Gatherers Road to SDVF Facebook page. If you have not registered on that page, please do go and search for it. Any one of us is able to accept any of our Hunters and Gatherers onto that page, and do have a little bit of a look at that. I am going to be talking quite extensively about that page, so it is really important that you know how to use it. So make sure that you go and navigate yourself around it. So think back to the last person that you signed up into the business. I'm hoping most of you here are at the stage in your business where you've either got some prospective franchisees ready to go or you already have franchisees signed up. By being in that position, you are already a leader. You are a leader of people because you have painted a vision for somebody about how you can help them achieve their dreams, how you can help them get out of whatever it is that they're doing and design a life for themselves. So just by doing that alone, you are already a leader. So just bear that in mind when you are bringing people into the team, is that you need to act in a leadership position. And part of that is making sure that you link arms with that person from the outset and help them through the bonus fast track system. But let's just take it back a step for a second. Often people will show themselves to you far beyond you sitting down and filling out that application form. Often people will show you how much they actually want to join this business by putting a few simple steps in place first. So it might have been that you've connected with someone on Facebook or you've met them in a shopping centre. The very first thing that you're going to do is you're going to share either a product or a business video link with them. That's the very first step that you need to do, because you know that if they are willing to go and have a look at that, then they are willing and open to moving through a business plan. So it might be that you've connected on the level of the product, and if so, there are numerous links that you can share. We've got our Hamilton Island links. We've got the links on experiencejp.com. They're all really short videos, and I believe less is more because you want to create that position of curiosity. So the very first thing you're going to do is share that product link. And if you've connected with someone from the business perspective, you're going to share the business link. So it could be the Gen Y video that's also on experiencejp.com, or my favourite one really is the Hamilton Island business video. And we all know that we can access that on the Juice Plus Australia franchise YouTube site. The third thing that you're going to do with someone when you're looking to see if they're keen to join your business is you're going to direct them to a business event. And that can be an online design your life, own your own life. That can be a Lady Lifestylers live event. That can be an evening event. But there are now numerous events on every single week that people can actually access. So if you've directed them to a product video, you've directed them to a business video, and you've directed them to a live business event, and they've attended all of those things, you know that you have secured somebody who's really keen and motivated. And that's really the first step that you have to make sure. The other great thing about doing that is that you have then provided them with the tools that they can then go and share with other people. I have now listened to over 140 MLM Nation calls. Is anyone here on MLM Nation? If you're not on MLM Nation podcast, I suggest that you download them from the Apple Store. I now listen to them religiously, whether I'm in the car or running on the treadmill. They're just half an hour to 40-minute interviews with the top leaders within the network marketing profession in a variety of companies. And the one thing that they consistently talk about is sharing company information. And so by introducing them to a product video, a business video, and bringing them along to it or sending them along to a business event, all of a sudden you've just given them the tools to how they are going to introduce people to the company as well. So that's the other added bonus from doing that. So you've already established that you've got your franchisee. It could be your mum, could be your best friend, could be someone that you've linked arms with on social media. How do I feel the best way to get started is? Well, the first one is at some point you're going to sit down with them and you're going to fill out their application form. In that setting, you want to establish what their why is. Why are they wanting to do this business? Because in the tough times, and let's face it, we all have tough times, you want to anchor them to their why. You want to be able to bring them back to the reason that they're doing this business. When you're asking them to stretch, when you're asking them to achieve goals that might be slightly out of their reach, when you're asking them to do things that are slightly out of their comfort zone, you want to anchor them to their why. And there is a great document in the Road to SDVF Facebook page in the files section called The Heart of Your Why. You guys can download that and actually walk through that yourself. And, you know, we often talk about the why that makes you cry, but it really needs to be a heartfelt, emotional why as to people are doing this business. And you really need to establish that at the outset. It's part of that relationship building. You also want to establish what your expectations are and also what their expectations are. You know, what do they want to achieve out of this? Is it a financial thing? Do they want to get $500 a month, $1,000 a month? Do they want to be able to leave their job in 6 months' time? And you want to establish how much time they're prepared to put into this, because the reality is the results are directly proportional to the action that people take. So if someone's prepared to put half an hour in per day, maybe 5 days a week, then they're going to get there, but they're going to take a long time to get there. Whereas if someone is prepared to take massive action and put in lots of time at the outset, you know they're going to move through things really quickly. So it's important that you're not projecting your expectation of what how much time they should put in, but you need to establish how much they're prepared to do. And then together you can establish how quickly you're going to move towards a goal. And you will all know that video 1 on the Road to SDVS really addresses those 5 initial steps. And this is the next, I guess, checkpoint that I would do with a brand new franchisee is I'd direct them to video number 1, which is those 5 initial steps. Because number 1, it gets them to fill out that sheet on their why. Number 2, it gets them to start thinking about a 90-day game plan. Number 3, it exposes them to GoPro. And as you all know, there is the link to GoPro, the 2.5-hour video of GoPro on the Road to SDVF page. So if they're not a reader and they don't use a Kobo or a Kindle, then you can direct them to the audio-visual link there. And then it's about those 5 steps that I talk about. So obviously listening to GoPro, establishing their product and ultimately their business story, establishing their memory jogger, establishing their 3 dates for their launch events, and then starting to think about those first 3 to 5 orders. Now, I'm a passionate believer that you don't submit their application into head office until you have those first 3 to 5 orders, because you want them to hit the ground running. You want to make sure that they nail that first 1,000 PVC within their first 10 days. There's nothing like getting a $100 check and a little bit of recognition on your team Facebook group page for someone to really fire and keep going with that momentum. Now, of course, sometimes people are a little bit of a slow starter, and you might need to give them a little bit of a nudge along. So normally I would give them maybe a 1 or 2 week buffer to say, well, come on, you've got the first 1 or 2 weeks to establish those first 3 to 5 orders. But definitely I think to allow them the best opportunity to tap into the bonus system, then you want to make sure that when they submit that application form, it's with those first 3 to 5 orders. So definitely use that 4-minute video, that Road to SDVF video number 1. And the big key to that, they must come back to you and talk to you about what they got off that video. Because again, this is a little checklist. Is this new person prepared to do the things that need to be done to get the job started? And if they're constantly procrastinating and constantly putting it off and saying, I'll get to it, no, I haven't done that stuff, then you know they're actually going to be a little bit of hard work. So you either got to be prepared to put the hard work in to really get them nudging through that road to SDVF pathway, or at some point you may need to move on. So as part of that is diarising those 3 launch events, and they can be online events, they can be tapping into the events that are already available, they can be coffee dates, they can be their own in-home launch events, but you really want them to solidify 3 dates within that first 40 days. I say 3, why? Well, because I have a watch one, teach one, do one mentality. Watch one, do one, teach one. So watch one, do one, teach one. So we all know that our events are pretty much exactly the same. We know what we're talking about with the product. We know what we're talking about with the business. We've seen it ad nauseum. So if we are doing the same event all the time, it's really easy for people to pick up. So they watch their first event, they take part in the second event, and then they do the third event with you assisting them. The other great thing about having the 3 events, it's alternatives for their guests to come along to. So if their guest is not available for one, it does give them other options to invite people along to. And of course, you've got to discuss the product. Absolutely. And in order to do that, you've got to have a product story. I've always been a big supporter of the research. Everybody knows that. I'm very research driven in this business. But more and more I realise that the facts tell, but it's the stories that sell. So it's absolutely essential that you have your own product story, you're strongly sharing it, but you encourage your brand new franchisee to get that product story down pat as quickly as possible, and to be able to talk it with great confidence. Now, some people don't have really solid product stories. Everyone has a product story when they're on the product because they have a reason why they started the product. So often that's enough of a product story. But if they haven't had any astronomical changes, they're not bouncing out of bed, it may take them time to develop more of a product story, then help them find other product stories of customers and teammates that you know of that they can share. How do they do that? Well, they get onto the events. So again, you're encouraging them to get on events. Even if they have no guests, the more events they get on, the more testimonials they hear, the more times they get exposed to that duplicatable message, and the quicker that they learn. So it's really, really important for them to have those 3 events front and center in those first 40 days. In that video 1, we talked about the importance of the memory jogger. So it's really important for you to sit down and go through that memory jogger with them. I don't care if it's 10 names, 20 names, 50 names. I don't care if there's a lot of names around the business and not many around the product. But what you need to be doing as their support person is working through that memory jogger with them. Help them to establish why they thought of them. Was it for the product or was it for the business? And help them to establish how they're going to reach out to those people. That's really, really important. And then you've got to ensure that daily contact within that first 40 days. So after you've sent them to video 1, you've come back and discussed it, and they've started to do all the tasks. The second thing is to send them to video number 2. Why? Because that's introducing them to the fast track freedom plan. That's introducing them to the structure that they need to envisage of what they want to create in that first 40 days. So as we all know, those first 3 to 5 orders themselves to get their 1,000 PVC, and then find 3 people that they want to link arms with for whatever reason, and help them each find their 3 to 5 customers. And if they do that and they each help them get 1,000 PVC, that's their 4,000 PVC that they need within that first 40 days. So you've helped them hit the ground running. They've got their 1,000 PVC in that first 10 days. Great. That's $100 bonus back. That means their business now becomes cash neutral because they've spent $137.50 and they've got $100 back. So they're almost in the black. And then you've helped them establish 3 businesses which will set up their structure to move to sales coordinator. Plus, they've got their $400 bonus for reaching SDVF in that first 40 days. So that's $500 that they can essentially get in their first month of business. Now, I'm sure there are people on here who have run their own small business before, and very few people are in the black in their first month of business, let alone their first year. So to be able to have someone raking in some good money in the first couple of months of business is going to make them stay, is going to help them build that momentum. If they're not seeing those bonuses and they're only seeing that smaller amount of retail and commission when they're first starting out, they are not going to continue in the business. So my advice to you is anyone that you bring in must see video 2, because they must be launched on the Fast Track Freedom Plan. They must have the opportunity to fast track to SDVF and tap into those bonuses. So that's where that's really important. And again, after they've seen video 2, ask them to come back to you and talk to you about any questions that they may have around that. Something that I have found super duper helpful when starting people out, particularly when talking about these steps that they need to reach, is the tracking sheet. And I just want to make sure that everybody is aware of the Rocket tracking sheet. I'm hoping that you can all see that. Can I have a thumbs up to make sure that everybody can see the Rocket tracking sheet there? Yeah? No? No. Okay, let me see if I can do it again. Stop share. Usually it works. Where are we? Rocket tracking sheet. Has that come up? Has that come up, guys? No. Okay. You will find the Rocket tracking, it's called Rocket tracking sheet. You'll find it in the files section of Hunters and Gatherers, and you'll also find it in the files section of Road to SDVF. And this tracking sheet was designed by the company. And it basically walks you and your new franchisee through completing their application form, booking their launch events, collecting their first 3 to 5 orders, holding their events, signing up their new franchisees, helping them to find their 3 to 5 orders, and so on. So it's a really good way of just keeping a check on exactly where your franchisee is. And what I have learned is that if you put their start date at the top of the sheet, you know when they have to achieve that 10-day goal and also that 40-day goal. Another great sheet that was designed by Bronnie and Emily, and I'll see again if I can share this. This is brilliant, this sheet. This is called the Action Plan to SDVF. Thumbs up as to whether you can see it or not, guys. Oh, bugger. Sorry. Okay. So once again, you can find this sheet. It's called Action Plan to SDVF. It's in the files section of Hunters and Gatherers and also in the files section of Road to SDVF. This is literally a list where you can keep a record of each customer order plus their PVC, and you can keep a running total of where their PVC orders are at, which helps track them towards getting that 1,000 in the first 10 days and then the 4,000 in the first 40 days. It's actually absolutely brilliant. You've got your start date there, you've got your day 10 date, and you've got your day 40 date. You've also got what each PVC value for each product is there as well. So again, I'd be handing that over to your brand new your brand new franchisee, and have them track their customers. It's great, particularly when you come to crunch time, if you're getting close to your 40 days and you don't quite know where you're at with regards to their customers. You're having to go back to your customer genealogy and seeing where they're at with regards to customers. It's quite stressful. But if you have this sheet in place, and I know a mum has run a couple of people through their Action Plan to SDVF using this sheet, and it certainly makes it a bundle easier when you're running people towards SDVF. All right, so keeping in contact with them for that first 40 days is essential. Don't just sign them up, direct them to the Facebook pages, offer them their launch events and leave them to their own devices. That is definitely not how we do this business. When you invite someone into this company and you paint the vision for them, you have that responsibility to get them where they are wanting to go. And if they are wanting those bonuses and the money quickly, then you must be in contact with them every day. Make sure that they're, reaching out to people every single day, asking them if they've got any objections that they've had from people that they might need to work on or find the answers to. But you link arms with them and walk side by side with them until they hit the goals. That's a really, really important tip. You want to teach them how to use their virtual office and how to submit orders online. We always teach that people get their username and password within the first 24 hours. You can be online on Zoom or on a 3-way phone call, and you can walk them through how to set up their virtual office, how to set up their website, and also how to submit their orders. So when they put those first couple of orders in, you may want to hold one back and then use that one to show them how to submit an order online, whether that be a children's health study order or a standard capsules order. But it's really important that you show them how to do that. And then, guys, connect them to the community. There's nothing worse than someone not knowing who they can reach out to and where to go. So never hesitate to set up a call with your upline NMDs. We love it. We love the opportunity to tell our story. We love the opportunity to talk about ourselves. Who doesn't? But we love the opportunity to connect with new franchisees and help you paint that vision. So setting up NMD calls with your upline NMD, it doesn't even have to be your NMD. It can be a Q, it can be a senior sales, just edifying somebody and creating that link for your brand new franchisee. We used to say, make a call to head office and introduce them to people like Lindy and Jenny. Don't do that anymore. We're really discouraging phone calls to head office, but there's no reason why they can't be connecting with their upline team. Send out a welcome message. That could be, getting them to get on Voxer. It's really important. If you guys have got team Voxer calls that happen, tap them into those, introduce them, tell people about them, ask them to introduce themselves, tap them into the various Facebook groups, our Hunters and Gatherers Facebook group, Team Angels, there's Team B, whichever team they're in. The Australian New Zealand franchise Facebook page is absolutely essential to tap them in to see everything that's happening at a national and international level. And, if they are on the product themselves and they're wanting to establish a Facebook group for their customers, you're very welcome to introduce them to Juice Plus Healthy Life. I've learned more about meal preparation from Lucy's beautiful meals that she posts. Thank you, Lucy, very much. And thank you to everybody that contributes to that, because we're just helping each other's customers by doing that. And goal them towards getting to JP Eagles. Once they get to sales coordinator, they have the opportunity to tap into the wider community and have some really serious learning from Celine. So, goal them towards that as well. And then introduce them to the wider community. As far as learning goes, nobody comes into this business knowing everything. We all have to be able to access as many resources as possible. So we've got on our virtual office, up on the top bar, there is a link that says franchisee training. Under there, you'll find chapter 12, Hillary's favourite chapter, all about the Juice Plus products. So if they have a question about the sugar content or the carbohydrate content, or if there's fat in the product or how it's encapsulated, you'll find the answer there. Another great site is Juice Plus Facts. facts.com. There's a number of frequently asked questions about the product and the business on that site as well. And as everybody knows, I love experiencejp.com, where there's lots of videos about the product, the business, and so on. And of course, juiceplusvirtualfranchise.com, which is a great website to send people who are really interested in looking at the business. And then finally, you've got to start them on their self-development pathway. As you all know, I'm a massive fan. I have been since December of MLM Nation. I've listened to all the recordings. Some of them are crap, but the vast majority of them, there's always a pearl of wisdom somewhere there. And, these are people who have, multi-million-dollar businesses in a variety of different network marketing companies. It's very objective. They don't ever mention the company. Sometimes you can work it out. But there's incredible information on how to connect with people, how to use social media, how to build a business, how to support your teammates, how to build 100 frontline in 100 days. There's lots of really interesting interviews with people from all over the world on MLM Nation. Similarly, there is one by Richard Bliss Brooke called Network Marketing Heroes, where he literally drills down into the money that people are making within the first 4 years of their business and how they've done that. Jim Rohn, a fantastic resource. Rise of the Entrepreneur. We all know that we should really have a look at that one ourselves, that 40-minute video on the network marketing fraternity. GoPro, as I said, is an absolute essential. And The 4-Year Career by Richard Blissbook. And many of you may have your favourites. There's another one called, what do I love at the moment? Your First Year in Network Marketing by Mark Yarnell, Yarnell, is another really great book, particularly for people who are just starting out in this business. You know, what they can expect, what it's like to get rejection. How do you deal with rejection? How do you deal with objections? And what happens when you get stuck or have challenges? That's a really honest review of your first year in network marketing. And so, of course, there's just a few things that you need to do to get somebody started in this business. As I said way back at the beginning, there's no absolutely perfect way. I think that running people through the road to SDVF is really valuable. I forgot to mention video 3, which is probably the most important video. And that really talks you through those 5 daily method of operation things that need to be done. And this is where, you know, you can really establish your expectations that if you're going to work with someone and you're going to help them achieve big in a short period of time, then they need to be connecting with people on a daily basis, whether that be through social media, whether that be through going and having coffee dates, or working the mothers groups or the daycare centres or the schools. They need to be connecting with people. They need to be establishing that 30-30 grid, whether it be that they're writing 1 person down per day or 10 people down per day. They need to be consistently moving through that 30-30 grid. And they do that by working that memory jogger. They need to be tapping into events. So again, as I said before, if they're not putting on their own events themselves for customers, they must be attending events. And there are so many now to attend. To say that you don't have the opportunity to attend events now is the worst excuse in the world, because there's so many opportunities at all times of day for people to be attending events. Following up people on that 30-30 grid, and of course doing the customer care. So doing those 5 things is what I talk about on video number 3. So I'd be encouraging them to go to that, come back to you and say, right, do you understand what needs to be done on a daily basis? Are you prepared to do it? And I think if you've got someone having worked through those 3 videos and you've had the opportunity to do these 10 things that I talked about, then you can't help but succeed. You know, you've then given them all the tools, and the great thing about that is that they can then duplicate that, because all the tools are there for them to do that. So there are a few people on the call tonight. What was video number 3? The 5 steps of your daily method of operation. So first thing is talk to people, establish people through a memory jogger, social media, going out to coffee dates. Using that 30-30 grid, so being consistent in adding people to that 30-30 grid, attending events, taking people to events, whether they be online, live or whatever, doing the follow-up of the people that you're adding to the 30-30 grid, so whether it's following up, whether they've watched a video or come along to an event or taken the product, and then doing the customer care, so looking after people. And if you're doing those 5 things every day and you've established with your brand new franchisees that that's what our business is and that what needs to be done, whether it be in snatches of time, whether it be in the 1 hour of consolidated time that you've blocked out in your diary, they're the things that need to be done to make this business successful. So I'm pretty sure that we've reached our half an hour. Yes, I agree, Hillary. Team Angels is on fire. It's great to have everyone on the call. There are a number of people who are starting to use the Road to SDVF program that is there, and I'd love it. Lucy, I know you've got several brand new team members. I'm just going to unmute you, my friend. Can you talk about your experience of using Road to SDVF and how it has helped you move people through a tried and proven system easier? Hang on, I've muted you again. Sorry, love. Let me see if I can find you.
Here.
Oh, yeah, beautiful.
Hi, everyone. So my first few franchisees, we obviously didn't have the Road to SDVF, and I'll quickly tell you my experience with that to begin with, I think, because it'll probably be easier. My experience was that I ended up doing everything for the franchisees because I was keen to help them get to SDVF or even to DVF. But I found that I was doing all the work, if that makes sense. So I was doing more work than my franchisee. I was on the phone constantly. I was doing the launches with them, but they weren't saying a lot at the launches. And I was, basically selling the product to the people. I was giving them ideas of who to go to as franchisees. And it was taking up a lot of my time and a lot of effort, actually. And yes, one of them got to SDVF, but as soon as I pulled off and was like, right, okay, well, you can do it now, she kind of slowed right down. And I think that was because she was used to me doing it for her. So that's kind of a bit of advice I'm going to give, is don't do it for them, because they get really used to that, and then you will actually really struggle to then get them doing it for themselves. Even though this person got the bonuses, she did it fast track, she then wasn't motivated enough because she hadn't done it herself, if that makes sense. And she'll agree to that as well. She's still a franchisee of mine, but she hasn't kind of got her passion going to now get to SC, I suppose. But using the road to SDVF actually as a franchisee yourself makes the whole process a whole heap easier, because it's basically pretty much done for you. You just have to have conversations with your franchisees. You're directing them there. And as Tamara said, if they're going to go and watch videos and they're going to come back and talk to you about them, you know that they're going to work hard. If they don't want to go and watch the videos, well, that's up to them because it's their business. But you want to really encourage the people that do want to take the time to go and watch those videos. I think the videos actually are key to this. And I know that it's a simple thing to ask someone to watch a video, but actually getting someone to watch the video is another thing. And I know it's like, I will watch a video if someone sends it to me, but not everyone does. So if they're committing and watching 3 videos, you know that they're ready, and you know that they're willing, and you know that they've got the passion and they've got the fire and they want to do it. So I think for me, the videos are key. I've learnt loads on this call as well, Tamara, about starting new people. So thanks for that. I'm going to do a lot of the other things which I don't do, which is establishing my expectations of them. I've never done that. And I think that's actually really important. And that's something I'm now going to sit down with my new franchisees this month that I'm going to get, putting it in the universe, is establishing my expectations. And I think that's really, 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 really important. Probably the videos, and then that is going to be your most important tools. So
yeah, right. Oh, thanks, Lucy. Yeah, no, that's fantastic. And just on that note, guys, in the first and second chapters of GoPro, it discusses exactly that, how it is important that, you are running a business, you're willing to put your time and effort into these people, but you need to let them know what you're prepared to do and what you expect that they do to warrant you spending time with them. So, do go back and have a look at those first couple of chapters of GoPro if you haven't done that before. It's definitely my Bible now. So guys, I'm going to wrap that up. If there's no further questions, thanks Lucy so much for sharing that. Michelle has asked, do we send potentials to Road to SDVF or only once they're signed up? I don't think there's any rules. If you think, again, I think if you've got a prospective franchisee, you've sent them a product video, you've sent them a business video, like the Hamilton Island links, you'll find them on Road to SDVF as well. And you've invited them along to an event, Design Your Life, Own Your Own Life, live or otherwise. And they've come to all 3 of those, they're keen, they're in. And I think at that point, you direct them to Road to SDVF, you get their application going, you direct them to video number 1, which basically says go and find your first 3 to 5 customers, print out your why, listen to GoPro, get your 90-day game plan. And if they're prepared, and then they're on the pathway if they're prepared to do all of those things. So yes, feel free to utilize that road to SDVF. Anyone can add anyone. As I have said to everyone who I've done a call similar to this about a month ago, in September, I will start to go through that Facebook page. And if I find anybody there just observing and not utilizing it, not running franchisees and prospective franchisees through that page, I will be taking people off. It needs to be a page that is an action page, not just for you to sit there and watch what everybody else is doing. We want to create massive action, because it's when you've got massive action, you've got momentum, and when you've got momentum, this business will continue to grow. So guys, I think we'll